The opposition has continued its pressure on the government and the police to investigate the circumstances surrounding the Australia Day protests in Canberra. But Indigenous leader Pat Dodson has urged Australians to look beyond the actions of the tent embassy demonstrators and to consider what has so upset them. Amy Bainbridge has more.
The political fallout over the Australia Day protests has lasted days, with the opposition continuing to demand to know who knew what and when. But at the inaugural Gandhi oration hosted by the University of New South Wales, Professor Pat Dodson implored the public to look at what caused the ugly scenes.
It would be simplistic, however, to condemn outright the behaviour of protesters associated with the tent embassy last week, without considering the sense of oppression that some of our people still feel towards our governments on a whole range of matters. I will always condemn bad manners and unnecessarily aggressive behaviour by whomever. But I will also defend people's rights to assert their political position and try to look at the heart of why people feel so oppressed that they feel violent confrontation is the only recourse to the resolution of their position.
Professor Dodson says the events in Canberra won't derail the bid to recognise the nation's First Peoples in the Constitution. He's part of a panel that has handed a report to the Prime Minister recommending changes to the Constitution to recognise Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders.
But even now, in the second decade of the 21st century, full and proper recognition of the status of the Indigenous peoples as the First Peoples, with rights and responsibilities that go with that status, is regarded with alarm by some within our country. This is despite the fact that countries like Canada, New Zealand, Norway, demonstrating that it is possible to agree and give substantive recognition to Indigenous peoples.
And he says the world is watching Australia.
The world must think we're crazy. That if we do not go to a referendum on this, just contemplate for a minute. The nation of Australia does not support in its constitution non-discrimination against people on the basis of colour, ethnic origin or nationality. Just contemplate that when you go to New York or you go to, Bangladesh or you go to China or India.
For now, it's only the politicians continuing the attack over Thursday's events. Professor Dodson wants to move on. Police are considering the opposition's call for an inquiry.